A $1 million opioid lawsuit overturned by the Oklahoma Supreme Court. We bring you live coverage from the courthouse. Plus, dozens of OU students write letters to the governor's office urging him to save a man's life. And we'll tell you why e-cigarette users should pay attention to a recent study. This is OU Nightly. Thanks for joining us for OU Nightly. I'm Kaitlyn Deggs.
And I'm Kaleigh Tingelstad. We begin tonight with breaking news out of Cleveland County. The Oklahoma Supreme Court has overturned a landmark decision handed down in Norman more than 2 years ago that ruled opioid manufacturers have created a public nuisance in their making of an addictive painkiller. OU Nightly's Audrey Goodson reports live from the courthouse in downtown Norman. Audrey.
It was here at the Cleveland County Courthouse back in August of 2019 that Judge Thad Balkman ordered opioid manufacturer Johnson & Johnson to pay the state of Oklahoma close to $500 million in damages for their marketing of addictive opioids. But Oklahoma's highest court ruled today in a 5-1 decision that the Norman judge's decision was flawed. We hold the opioid manufacturer actions did not create a public nuisance. It wrote in a 5-1 majority opinion. Drug maker Johnson & Johnson swiftly reacted after learning that they no longer had to pay the state of Oklahoma $465 million in damages. The company's actions relating to the marketing and promotion OU Nightly has reached out to the governor's and the attorney general's offices, but so far, no word on what's going to come next. Reporting from Norman, Audrey Goodson, OU Nightly.
Thanks, Audrey. We will continue to follow this story and give updates as the landmark decision develops further.
And it is bright and sunny outside today, but that might not be the case in the near future.
Mikayla Smith joins us now to talk about the cold front stalled over Norman and what temperatures look like. Mikayla.
Yeah, so we do have a cold front currently that's stalled right here across Norman, we can see. So areas just north of that cold front are sitting a bit colder than we were yesterday. Areas to the south where those southerly winds are still coming in, just slightly warmer here in the metro. We can see right where that cold front is stalled out in the 70s down to the south, but areas to the north of that cold front didn't even get to the 70s today. So it kept it just a bit cooler, and that's the story for the majority of the state. Guyman was in the 50s earlier actually, but we can see that those winds have shifted back out of the south. So we had a normal mild day today. We have another cold front coming through. Tomorrow it's going to give us a chance for some severe weather. We're under a marginal risk here in Norman, so I'll have more on that coming up about when you're going to need your umbrella, where you're going to need your umbrella, and for how long you're going to need your umbrella. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Kayla. Students gathered on campus yesterday in support of Julius Jones. OU Nightly's Will Blessing looks into student support for the cause.
I'm not free till Julius is free. I'm not free till Julius is free.
Rallies are ongoing in the support of Julius Jones as his execution date gets closer. These rallies have reached the campus of the University of Oklahoma as yesterday the Black Emergency Response Team, or BERT, held a march on campus in support of Jones.
Julius was an OU student during that time of his arrest, so it's important that here at OU we're showing our love and support and letting him know that the OU community is still with him through this journey.
And these students are taking similar approaches to the supporters for Julius Jones, urging Governor Kevin Stitt to grant clemency through phone calls and by writing letters, like this one. Letters and online messages written yesterday after the march continue to urge Governor Stitt to grant clemency.
I think that, a lot of times we feel like, there's not much I can do, but there is something that you can do, and it's about pressure. And so if all of us here write a message to Governor Stitt, that makes a difference.
In addition to the march, there were also multiple speakers, among them former Oklahoma Senator Connie Johnson, who spoke against the death penalty.
It just matters to be a human being. That's all we're asking for. Have mercy. Let's have true justice. This is not the justice that we have in mind for the state of Oklahoma.
The final decision on clemency rests with Governor Kevin Stitt. He has not issued a decision yet. Will Blessing, OU Nightly.
Governor Stitt has until November 18th to make a decision to grant clemency to Jones. If he does not respond, Jones will be executed.
The Oklahoma Health Department reports only 265 new cases. This brings the active total to over 5,000 cases. There have been more than 11,500 deaths, and half of Oklahoma is vaccinated.
Another development in the Capitol riot investigation, OU Nightly's Logan Morrow has this story and more national headlines in today's News Center. Logan?
Thanks, Kaitlyn. More members of the Trump White House are facing subpoenas from the January 6th committee. Among those being targeted are former Trump senior advisor Stephen Miller, former White House press secretary Kaleigh McEnany, and former director of the White House Presidential Personnel Office Johnny McEntee. All of the 10 individuals are asked to hand over documents by November 23rd. Houston firefighters stationed outside the Astroworld concert venue last Friday were not in radio communications with emergency medical professionals, hired by the concert organizers. Officials on standby near the venue asked concert organizers for a radio to communicate with Paradox, the emergency medical providers. They were only given cell phone numbers. The president of the Houston Professional Firefighters Association says cell phones are not reliable during emergencies due to signal weakness at large gatherings. And the prosecution rested its case against Kyle Rittenhouse in his homicide trial today after calling 22 witnesses over the course of 6 days. Judge Bruce Schroeder granted a defense motion to dismiss a curfew citation charge against Rittenhouse. This happened after defense attorneys said prosecutors failed to present any evidence that a curfew was in place. Rittenhouse does face 5 felony charges for shooting and killing 2 people during protests in Kenosha last summer. And Kaitlyn and Kaleigh, at least 89 people, including 17 children, have tested positive for the Zika virus in a surge of cases in the Indian city of Kanpur yesterday. Back to you.
Thanks, Logan. And those looking to get their booster shot who might have been previously restricted might be able to do so soon.
Find out more about Pfizer's latest FDA request.
Plus, e-cigarette users might be at greater risk of having strokes earlier in life.
We'll explain the latest study out of New York when we return. People who have previously not qualified to receive their COVID-19 booster shot might get the green light soon. Mariah Wheeler explains the latest request from Pfizer in today's Health Beat. Mariah?
Thanks, Kaylee. Pfizer is expected to seek emergency authorization for its COVID booster in patients 18 and older. That's according to a Biden administration official. The FDA has already authorized the booster shot for people 65 or older or those with an increased risk of contracting COVID. In addition to Pfizer, the FDA has authorized Moderna's booster shot for groups with similar conditions. Pfizer has not yet said whether they will seek booster authorization for people under 18. A new study shows e-cigarette users are more likely to have strokes earlier in life than cigarette smokers. Researchers at New York's Mount Sinai Hospital found that stroke victims who vaped had their strokes at a median age of 48, whereas the median for cigarette smokers was 59. However, cigarette smokers are more likely to experience strokes overall. It's unclear what led to the strokes, but researchers hypothesized that it could be nicotine, which is found in both cigarettes and e-cigarettes. Recorded COVID-19 cases around the world have now surpassed 250 million. This comes nearly 2 years after the WHO declared COVID a pandemic. 3 countries, the US, India, and Brazil, account for more than 40% of all known cases. This is according to data from Johns Hopkins University. Researchers believe that case counts could be even higher due to unreported infections. The U.S. alone accounts for 1 in every 5 cases. More than 5 million people have died from the virus in the world. And doctors are testing a new form of therapy for those experiencing heart failure. It was just performed for the first time in the U.S., and clinical trials are expected to continue for the next couple of years. Back to you both.
Thanks, Mariah. Thanksgiving is just around the corner, and this year, many more Norman families are dealing with food insecurity. Central Oklahoma Community Mental Health Center is helping local families through food donations. Going beyond their regular mental health services, they are trying to put food on the table for those in need this Thanksgiving season. The center is asking for non-perishable dry goods and produce to donate in an effort to bring a sense of tradition to families.
We know that the holidays can be stressful for a lot of people. Being a mental health center, we totally understand that, but we want to help create some sort of normalcy.
They're accepting donations through November 20th at 909 East Alameda in Norman.
If you're driving around Norman, you've probably seen cars with lots of hail damage.
But police are warning people with significant damage to stay off the roads. We'll tell you more about the Oklahoma law and how that could apply to you.
And Mikayla Smith has the latest on our forecast. Mikayla, what can we expect?
Yeah, we do have a chance for some severe weather tomorrow, so I'll time that out for you and exactly when you need to be prepared and for what. Welcome back to OU Nightly. Take a look at our satellite radar. We can see that cold front, like I mentioned, that's stalled out right over Norman right now. Some cloud cover down there to the southeast of that, and that's going to continue to push off to the east, we can see. And then it's going to get taken over by a warm front and this low that's going to move up. Then we're going to have that dry line and a cold front tomorrow that's going to give us a chance of seeing some severe storms later on tomorrow between about 6 and 8 here in Norman. You can see that line that's going to form, and then that's 2 is going to push out to the east. And then a high pressure system is going to dominate our weather pattern here for the rest of the week into the weekend. Have that high sitting here. We're going to be some sunshine, those highs to the 50s and 60s. So if we zoom in tomorrow, though, we can see, so right now those winds are coming from the south. But tomorrow morning we may have a shower or two, and those main storms are going to be later on in the day. We're going to see these are going to be some light showers. That's like our first round of rain. But here between 6 and 8, like I said, that's when the storms are going to be here in Norman, Oklahoma City area. And then it's going to form a line. And then that line is going to move out to the east. Winds are going to come out behind it coming from the north. But as those move out to the east, we are going to have that cloud cover go with it. So we're going to be back into the nice sunshine we're going to see with this. So our main threat with this is going to not be some rainfall, but we're going to see a little bit of rain here, but not the main threat. About ½ an inch here in Norman, maybe up to an inch in McAllister, but we're not going to really be worried about flooding with this event. Neither tornadoes as well. We have a very low tornado potential with the severe weather threat tomorrow. Main threat is going to be some hail, could see up to quarter-size hail, as well as some winds. Could see some gusts above 60 miles per hour, so with 60 mile per hour plus winds and some quarter-size hail, that could do some damage. And then we see, again, we have a low flooding threat because those storms are going to move fairly quickly out to the east. So here's that marginal risk for the most center portion of Oklahoma. It's not going to be a very widespread. It's going to be very quick that it's going to move through. But here today, see that sunset. Starting, we are in daylight savings time now, so sitting at 70 right now. Beautiful colors out there from the Oklahoma City skyline cam. And as well as it's fall time here on campus, we can see these pictures taken on campus today, some red and some yellow on those tree covers. So we're around peak for this time of year. So we're going to very much want to enjoy those and get outside while you can before those leaves fall off of those trees. If you're heading out tonight, though, 68 at 5 o'clock, and when we are going to drop down by 9 p.m. It's going to be 61. So you may want to grab a jacket. Could be a bit chilly out there by the time we get to 9 o'clock. Lows tonight are going to be in the 50s. Winds coming back out of the south as that front moves through. Going to be in the 40s out there in the panhandle, however. Tomorrow, those highs, though, that's that second cold front that's going to come through. So 60s out there are going to be a bit warm, 70 possibly here in Norman, those winds coming back from the south. So we'll talk about those thunderstorms that we have tomorrow. Some could be severe, and then we're going to see some sunny, cooler weather as we extend throughout Friday and Saturday into next week. And then next Tuesday, we're going to be back into the 70s, so it's going to be a bit warm. And I'll have more on maybe even when we're going to see our first freeze at some point next week as well. We haven't had that first freeze yet, so we'll detail that later on. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Mikayla. Norman police say drivers with windshield damage from hail should stay off the roads. This comes after the city has seen 2 major hailstorms along with some smaller ones in the last year. Oklahoma law states it's illegal to drive with 2 or more hairline fractures or stress fractures in the windshield. Norman police say they will cut drivers some slack, but if your windshield has significant damage, you need to take action. Hail repair shops in Norman say they are backed up for weeks as 70% of cars that were repaired from the storms are back for more repairs.
And men's and women's hoops are back in action tonight.
Parker Abels tells us what we can expect from our Sooners.
That's right, ladies. It's officially college hoop season. And the Sooner football is back in action this weekend, but Lincoln Riley wasn't at his presser today. Stay tuned. Sports is next. Welcome back to OU Nightly. I'm Parker Abels, and it's time for sports. College hoops is back tonight as the Sooners take on Northwestern State tonight at 7 in the LNC. This will be the debut of new head coach Porter Moser and his talented new transfer class. The Sooners only have 4 returning players this season, including guard Umoja Gibson. Here's what he had to say about his expectations for this season.
I always have something to prove because, you know, I always been overlooked my whole life. So most definitely I got something to prove, but I got to do it within the offensive system and what Coach Moses is asking for me.
Now over to the ladies. They're traveling to face South Dakota at 7 p.m. before a series of home matchups to begin the regular season. Coach Baranchek simply wants to make sure her team is getting better and having fun.
All we want is for them to just play and to have fun. So for me, success is always, did we get better? And there's a lot of things that we're gonna have to do to get better. And did we have fun? And can we see that we're getting better and having fun? And that's really always the ultimate goal.
Sooner football is back and well rested after their bye week and head into Waco to take on the Baylor Bears this Saturday. Carly Murray was checking out the coach's weekly presser, but got a little surprised.
Media members were thrown for a bit of a loop today at Lincoln Riley's weekly press conference. Assistant head coach Dennis Simmons took over the podium and had a few words to say about Baylor's coaches.
And I think Baylor, you know, ever since I've come back into the Big 12 conference, has been a team that, you know, gives you problems defensively. You know, with Coach Rule and his staff was there, you know, they created some situations for us, and, you know, Dave Aranda is probably one of the brightest defensive coaches, you know, in not just college football, but in the game of football, period.
As for the OU defense, they've played well the past several years during championship November. Alex Grinch has been a big part of those momentous moments.
You know, our intent over the next 3 games, most specifically this week, is guys flying to the football, you know, playing top-down defense. It's amazing how good you can be defensively if you play top-down defense.
One more note for the Sooners today. Freshman phenom Caleb Williams was named one of 20 semifinalists for the Davy O'Brien Award. We'll see if Superman needs to save the Sooners on Saturday at 11 a.m. in Waco. Carly Murray, OU Nightly.
The Denver Broncos snapped the Dallas Cowboys 6-game win streak on Sunday, but the drama didn't stop there.
At the end of the day, you got to go out there, execute, and dominate, and I don't think we was able to do that.
Just not your day, huh?
It's just not my day. But I got a new puppy, and I'm going to go home to him. And we're going to cuddle about it.
And the internet is buzzing about this video of a 6-year-old stiff-arming like he's the next Derrick Henry. The youth player from Hueytown, Alabama, hometown of Heisman winner Jameis Winston, throws down 5 stiff arms before taking it 60 yards to the house. Man. And just like that running back did with those defenders, I'm going to toss it back to you ladies at the desk.
Thanks, Parker. Some love a good snack on the go.
But one man in the Netherlands took that to the extreme. Find out when we return.
I'm Sloan Weber at the OU Nightly Update Desk. The Biden administration announced new actions today to ease supply chain issues at U.S. ports, waterways, and freight networks. This is the approach to implement the newly passed $1 trillion bipartisan infrastructure bill. The plan includes construction projects for new inland waterways and land ports of entry. Kaitlyn, Kaleigh, back to you.
Thanks, Stone. Many people have only thought about eating pizza, but have you thought about using pizza to make other things?
One pizza maker in the Netherlands uses pizza to make skateboards.
He says that he dabs the pizza so it doesn't get moldy, lets it dry, seals it with chemicals, and then waits 10 days.
In addition to skateboards, he makes stools, tables, and even pictures of real pizza to hang up.
You know, I'm a big pizza fan, I won't lie, but I don't know about skateboards.
Yeah, I don't know how to skateboard, but I don't think I'd want to try it out on a pizza.
See, I don't either. I feel like I would fall if I was on a pizza and a skateboard. Yeah. Mikayla, what can you tell us before we close out?
So it's not exactly pizza, but Thanksgiving is 16 days away. It's my favorite holiday. It's the perfect time. You know, you get to eat lots of food, hang out with your family. And then winter solstice is December 21st. That's 42 days away. Christmas, 46. And then brand new year, 2022, is 53 days away. But here a little bit closer, we're going to see 70s, chance of storms tomorrow, back in the 50s for this weekend. And we could see our first freeze Friday into Saturday, sitting at 36 right now, but those models have started to trend just a bit cooler. So we could see our first freeze for this time of year. And back in the 70s next Tuesday, But that's all I have for you guys, ladies.
Thanks, Mikayla. And thanks for watching OU Nightly, brought to you by the Gaylord College of Journalism and Mass Communication on the campus of the University of Oklahoma.
We'll see you right here tomorrow afternoon at 4:30. Good night.